Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Grief Drums, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some tips, tricks, and pieces of advice from around the Siege community in regards to the test server for Operation Shadow Legacy. Now, I've been fortunate enough to play on this test server quite a bit. I've spent most of the last week on it, and obviously things are changing all of the time. You've got to be mindful of that. So if any of these tips don't quite apply by the time you watch this video, it may well be because the test server has adjusted. Now, a perfect example of this is the 1.5 times scope. When that first came out, I wasn't too keen on it. I loved the idea of it, but the reticle was just so fat and chunky, I just wasn't enjoying using it. And since then, they've actually gone ahead and adjusted it, so the reticle of both that and the new holographic sight are a lot thinner. So if you see any inconsistencies like that throughout the video in the gameplay, please understand that all of this stuff is exactly that. It's from the test server, and things were changing and are still changing even while this video is out. Now, we are going to go ahead and jump straight into the video, but very quickly, just before we do, I'm going to continue to bore you to tears by saying I stream live over on Twitch 3 times a week on Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and I'd love to see you guys over there. And if you don't already, you can follow me on Twitter to keep up with everything that's going on. So first up today, we're going to be taking a look at Sam Fisher. I'm not calling him Zero. I refuse to do it. He is not Zero. He's Sam. And I wanted to look at one of the ways in which you can utilize him that I have found to be so damn effective throughout this test server. I really have. Now, with his cams, at the minute he has 4. There is the potential that this may be reduced, but at the moment he has 4 of them. And because they are so loud when you deploy them, it's very, very easy for defenders to shoot them out. They sort of hear the splinter cell sound, that iconic sound, and they look around for it and just shoot it. So putting these onto the main wall doesn't usually benefit you. I mean, you can get away with it every now and then, but 90% of the time you're going to want to put these in a little less obvious place. Now, what I've been doing is going below the actual objective sites, and I've been slapping 3, sometimes 4 of them into the roof just above me, hoping to get a good look into the site. And then once I've done that and I can figure out where people are, I can use ping 2.0 to accurately mark whereabouts they are without revealing that I have seen them. From there, you can then go ahead and use your grenades, and with a little bit of practice, you can get the timing down. So as soon as it connects with the roof directly below your opponent, it goes ahead and blows up and just takes them out of the game. Now, obviously, the SAM cams do have one taser or laser, whatever you want to call it, and that can be pretty handy, but I find that on a lot of objective sites, one thing that's really handy to do is use them to spot exactly what's going on. And like I say, use the grenades. You can use the grenades for utility if there are bandit batteries on a wall, or alternatively, you can coordinate with your team and utilize the laser to remove anything that might be blocking their way. For example, the clip in the background where Ash was trying to push through into server and Malusi had a pre-placed nitro ready for her. Give this a go though. As long as Sam has got grenades, I would definitely recommend doing this and trying it. Next up, we're going to take a look at some of the sites. Now, this is going to be very, very objective. For the most part, the red dot, the new red dot, is extremely clean, really nice to use. And the new holo, I'm personally not so much a fan of it. I think that it's quite bulky and blocks a lot of the screen, but you're going to have to give this a go and see how you get on with it. But one site that a lot of people seem to really be sleeping on, something that they're not paying much attention to, is the reflex. The original reflex that we had in the game had a triangle that was absolutely massive, and whilst the reflex hasn't been changed a massive amount, the triangle has shrunk over years. And guess what? As part of this test server, they have shrunk it even more. The triangle is absolutely minuscule right now on the test server, and because of that, it is such a clean sight to use that most people don't even realize has changed. I would highly recommend giving the new reflex, or the reworked reflex, I suppose is a better way to put it. I would highly recommend giving it a go, because right now, with such a small triangle and such a clean sight aperture, you are able to get a really good view of what is going on, and you are able to just absolutely dominate with this thing. Or at least, you know, I have found that it's a lot easier to use than it previously was, and I previously liked it quite a bit, so to make it even better, that's amazing. And the next thing I want to talk about is something that a lot of people seem to be sleeping on at the minute, and that is the fact that Iana can now ping when she's using her hologram. Now, this is huge for Iana's pick rate. Quite frankly, a lot of people seem to struggle using her, and I think that's down to the fact that if you're solo queuing, utilizing comms isn't always the best. There's always going to be someone that gets upset and decides they're going to try and TK you because they didn't like your call out, or you know what I mean? There's always something, and quite frankly, not everybody wants to give call outs. Not everybody wants to you know, communicate effectively, or is able to communicate the information that they see effectively. So being able to ping as Iana is absolutely huge. If you're following someone in and they've sent their hologram and they give you an accurate ping on exactly where that person is, they don't have to try and relay the information. It's instant. You can see it. You don't have to wait for them to say, oh, the left-hand sofa, but, you know, you don't have to try and track traces to where that person was. You can quite literally just see where that yellow ping is and start putting rounds down towards it. So this is a really positive change, and one that I haven't seen broadcasted too much, but one that I think could make a world of difference to this operator. Now, when it comes to barricades, one-hit vaulting, it seems to be gone. I can't find a way to do it. I've spent many hours trying to figure out a new way to do it, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, in the live build of Siege, what you can do is by hitting a single barricade in a certain point, you can actually hit it once and instantly get that vault prompt. And I really like this feature. I think it's a really good feature that creates a bit of a skill gap, because not everybody knows how to do it, and the people that do are usually higher ranks and are able to utilize this within their game. Unfortunately, however, on the test server, this just seems to be gone completely. Now, the devs have seen fit to remove it for whatever reason, and you know what? This is honestly, it's like I say, it's one that I want to get reverted. It's one that I would like to see reverted. I can't see it happening though. I really can't. The fact that you were able to do this previously on a single barricade meant that the doors and the windows operated differently to sort of the double windows, where you needed a minimum of 2 hits. And I kind of like that feature. It makes sense logically that a larger barricade you would need 2 hits, and a smaller barricade you'd only need 1. But even still, it's definitely important to know about this so that you don't go running up to a barricade and expect that vault to come up after you hit it, because it's not going to happen. Now, I'm going to talk about 2 more things. The first thing I want to discuss is this really spicy angle on Chalet. If you're holding the master bedroom area from the office, you can actually look onto the main stairs, and it is a bit of a death trap using the main stairs if you haven't got control of this balcony. Now, obviously, this does work both ways. I've been able to play on the main stairs and try and hold the person that is looking out towards K9 from the office door, and get a few cheeky kills from there, but the sight angle is obviously a lot less, and you're reliant on someone being there. Whereas from that office door, you can actually stand there and just keep an eye on the main stairs and the majority of that balcony. So it's a pretty strong position to play, but it's a very important angle to know if you're trying to push up those stairs. You've got all of the lobby to care for. You've got to keep an eye on the library. You've got to keep an eye on the mezzanine, the new balcony. You've got to keep an eye on K9. And if that window is open, the office doorway. So, you know, there's a lot of potential angles that you can get shot from here, but I just wanted you to know about it. Now, the final thing that we're going to talk about today is going to be the dot in the middle of the screen. Now, I've seen a lot of people in my live stream saying that dot is ugly. You know, it just doesn't look right. It's not nice to have on the screen. And it's not really in keeping with, you know, Siege and the way it's always looked. And yes, I will be the first to admit that I do kind of agree with you. It doesn't look right. It looks weird. But this dot is so damn helpful. It is really good for keeping an eye on whereabouts your crosshair is, because we all know headshots are king in this game. So being able to make sure that your crosshair is staying up and that you're not naturally sort of drifting your aim lower, this can be really helpful for doing exactly that. Couple this with the fact that you can use it on drones and things to accurately ping the gadgets. You know, it's a good aiming reticle. And finally, the fact that if you're trying to do grenades, like, you know, a long distance grenade that bounces off something, for lining this kind of stuff up, this tiny little dot is just incredible. If you've ever seen the grenades on Villa where you stand up on the roof and you arch it down into the statue room, utilizing this dot means that you're going to get it precise every single time as long as you're stood in the right spot. So yes, I will be the first to agree with you. It looks a little bit weird, it looks a little bit ugly, and it's going to take some getting used to, but I would highly recommend leaving this on, because I will guarantee you now it will improve your accuracy tenfold if you're already placing it at the right height on doorways before you even have to ADS. I'm afraid that's going to be it for today's video. Obviously, we've covered lots of little bits here. Hopefully some of the information and the knowledge will help you out and give you something to think about. But I'd love to hear what you think of the test server so far. Are you keen on it? Do you like it? Or do you absolutely hate it? Has it moved too far away from what Siege is for you? Or have the devs absolutely knocked it out of the park? For me, it's probably the latter. I'm really enjoying a lot of these changes, but I'd love to hear what you think. If you did enjoy the video, please consider hitting that thumbs up. If you don't already, make sure to subscribe. And if you stayed until the end of the video, welcome to the Grief Nation.